Hello everyone, let's build something in Spring today. So here I am at Spring Initializer, and here we can download our Spring Boot project package. So here our build tool is Maven, group is com.example, which is fine. Artifact, let me use some name like Spring is Spring, and project name will be same as Spring is Spring, fine. Java 17 is fine. Now this is going to be a simple project, so Spring Web and DevTools be enough dependencies for this one. Let me generate it. Here we have our zip file. Let me extract these files and get rid of this zip here. Before starting to work with this, let me first clean install it first. Okay, it is done. Now let's open this. One more thing, okay, we can ignore this one. One thing is, we are not going to use traditional IDEs which we usually use like Eclipse or VS Code or IntelliJ IDEA. This is NVim or NeoVim. So let me create a directory under this Spring is Spring directory, which will hold our controller class, and its name will be Springy controller. Now it is a directory. In this one I will create one controller file, springy controller.java. Fine. Let me import the package com.example dot springy spring dot springy controller. Fine. And we can also declare the class, public class springy controller. Okay, this is fine. Let's annotate this class with REST controller. Here we can have one handler function on hitting which a simple code will execute. Let me show you, like it will return a string like say hello function and return hello world. Let me save it. Fine. And let's annotate this function also with get mapping, and the endpoint would be simple hello. Let's save it. Do we have any compilation error? No. So let's hit this endpoint and let's see what it will give us back. Let me run this project. mw spring boot run. Now it should run on 8080 port. Okay, it has started to work on 8080. Let's hit the URL localhost colon 8080 and our endpoint is hello. What's wrong? Do we have anything in the logs? No. Let me terminate this job. Yes, terminate it, and let me rerun it again. Let me rerun it. Again it started to work on. Okay, now it's working. Just to verify whether it is coming from this, from here or not, which is the case, but let's verify anyway. This is from boot. Let's reload it. Okay, this is coming from here. Now here we have created a simple API on hitting which we are getting a simple message. Now let's try one more thing. Let's try to consume this API in our React project. Let's do that. Here let me create one directory like Spring React. Here I will create one React application like npm create white latest, and our React project name would be okay, same, Spring React. Now in this command, npm is node package manager and white or wheat is the build tool for the front-end frameworks like Vue or React. So let me create a React application which is yes, React 1 JavaScript, and let me run this npm install command to install node read package.json. Why? Okay, I have to run that command here, npm install. Now it is installing the dependencies and all for this React project. Let me run this project now. Npm run dev, which has started to execute or run on 5173 port. 5173. Okay, our React project has started to work. Okay, it is working. Now just to let you know, I am also new to React. I am also exploring things here. Now this, let's open it in new Vim. In React project there is one file called app.jsx. Now this is like the origin of the project. Let me get rid of this code and try to run something like hello world from React. Okay, it is working. Now this is a hard-coded message. Now you want to pass the data from the API which we have just created and pass it here dynamically. So for fetching the API details, there is something called as Axios in React, and we can input it like this, Axios. I hope this is the correct syntax, which is yes, this is correct. And one more hook is here, use effect, which will make sure that our code, the logic to fetch the API details, will execute only once when the component or the page is loaded. And this use state, this hook will help us to show one default message until our API details are fetched. Loading. A function will be set message. Here variable will also be set message. Now let's make use of this use effect hook. Use effect. Now this use effect will take two arguments. First one is the logic to fetch the API, and second one is this blank array. Now this blank array will make sure that our logic will execute on component or page load. And the first argument will be an arrow function. One arrow function like this. Here we can write axios.get get what. Here we have to pass the URL in the double quotes like http :/ localhost. I have made this mistake earlier that I was not passing this http, so we also have to pass this http here, and localhost :808080/hello, and dot then, this is JavaScript by the way. In this dot then also we have to give one arrow function. Here we have to pass one message, and in this set message function we have to pass the details, the API details, message dot data, like this. Let me save it. Okay, fine, it looks fine. Okay, one thing we missed here, this dynamic message. Now you see this function here, set message. This set message will make sure that the data which we are fetching through this endpoint, through this URL, will be assigned to this variable, and that we are passing it here, and the data will be shown dynamically. Now let's try to run it. Resolve import Axios. Have I misspelled Axios or what? No. Axios is not installed. Let me try something out. npm install Axios. Okay, this something has happened. Now let's try to reload. Okay, loading is here, but why not our message? Let me verify if 8080 is still working. Okay, it is working. Why not 5173? http 8080 hello data. Nothing wrong with the Spring Boot. Okay, one thing, there could be one thing, since we are hitting the same URL from two different origins. So let's try this. I'm not sure whether this will work or not, but let's try. Origins, it will take the origins from where we are hitting the request, and this also has to give in the double quotes http://localhost:5173, because this is from where we are hitting the Spring Boot endpoint. Now let's try to, okay, now this has worked. Now we can consume the API which we have just created from browser as well as from React application.